Good morning, brothers and sisters. This is the day after Memorial Day, and I trust that you were blessed and you had an opportunity to share it with friends and family, and remember those things that are very important. Perhaps you've had loved ones to serve in the armed forces, and maybe many of you have given the ultimate sacrifice, and so. Our heartfelt thanks go out to you and to yours, and just trust that the day after brings you a ray of gladness and just knowing that this is a day that the Lord has made, and you can rejoice, and we can rejoice and be glad in it. I want to spend the next few videos talking or thinking about the day that is approaching. In Hebrews, the 10th chapter, the Bible says, verse 23, let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering. This is no time to be tossed to and fro by every wind and doctrine. You need to be firm on the rock of salvation. You need to be secure in Him. For He who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds. And that's all we have time for, really. Not forsaking our own assembling together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Many of the watchmen that I am listening to and that make up this watchman community can see the day approaching with frightening clarity. We see the day approaching, and we also see what comes with it. And so I am being moved to talk to you and prepare you and stir your pure heart by putting you in remembrance of what Jesus told us to focus on in this generation, in this our day. In Luke chapter 17, beginning at verse 26, Jesus says, and just as it happened in the days of Noah, so it shall be also in the days of the Son of Man. You won't have to guess. You won't have to try to figure it out. You will know that you are in that generation. You are in those times, because those times will be mirrored for you in the historical narrative of the days of Noah. They were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, they were being given in marriage until the day. And I'm entitling this series of videos, Until the Day. Until the day Noah entered the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. So, since Jesus points us to the day the flood came, I think that as we spend these final few moments of the ages preparing for a flood that is coming upon the world, fiery flood, that we look at what Jesus told us to look for and to look at. So let's look. Let's start looking in Genesis chapter 7 and verse 1. Then the Lord said to Noah, enter the ark, you and all your household, for you alone I have seen to be righteous before me in this time or in this generation. We're going to ask and answer and think about 4 questions as we approach the day, until the day. What did Noah know about that day? When did he know it? How did he know it? And why did he know it? Selah. What did Noah know about that day? When did he know? How did he know? Why did he know? The Lord said, that's where I want to start. That's where I want to park just for a few seconds. The Lord said, Noah had a communication. God had established a communication with Noah, a relationship with Noah, and through that relationship, Noah was given information that nobody else on the planet had about that day. And Noah was told when that day came to enter the ark. Now, contrary to what a lot of people think and how the discussion goes, especially a lot of the Sundays, or what I call the Sunday school talk about what happened here on this day. The ark, Noah didn't build the ark. God didn't instruct Noah to build the ark as a giant evangelistic campaign to try to get everybody to believe that there would be a flood coming and that they should get on board in the ark. Noah knew exactly what he was building and what he was building it for and who he was building it for. He knew that God never intended for anybody but 8 people to end up on the ark. In Genesis chapter 6 and verse 13, the Bible says, then God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me. For the earth is filled with violence because of them, and behold, this is what I'm going to do, Noah. I am about to destroy them with the earth. So Noah was not commanded to go on some kind of great evangelistic campaign trying to get everybody convinced to come into the ark that he was building. I like how verse 14 starts out, make for yourself. It reminds me of when the apostles stood up on the day of Pentecost and said, "Save yourselves from this untoward generation. Make for yourself an ark." And this is what you do. This is how to make it. And you're going to take your sons and their wives and your wife. So Noah knew when that day came and what he was doing and who was going to be involved in participating, who was going to be in the ark. When the door shut, shouldn't have been a surprise that there were only 8 people in the ark, because God, from the beginning, he always declares the end from the beginning. From the beginning, Noah knew that he was going to end up with 8 souls. Let's continue to read a little bit. Let me watch my time here. Now, in verse 4, the Bible says, "For after 7 more days, I will send rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out from the face of the land every living thing that I have made." Now remember, we're to be instructed, we're to understand, we're to gain understanding from Noah as to how God operated as he closed up the end of that age, as he brought Noah to that specific day, to that very day, to that self-same day. Noah did according to all that the Lord had commanded him. Verse 6, "When the flood of water came upon the earth, Noah was 600 years old. And then Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him entered the ark because of the water of the flood." Drop down to verse 10, and the Bible says, "And it came about after the 7 days that the water of the flood came upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on the same day, all the fountains of the great deep burst open, and the floodgates of the sky were open. And the rain fell upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, entered the ark." As it was in the days of Noah, when that day approached, God became very clear as to what was going to happen and when it was going to happen, and told Noah when he had 7 days left, when the time was complete, when his work was finished, for him to enter the ark. Noah wasn't surprised. Noah wasn't shocked. Noah was prepared, and he had prepared by doing all that God had commanded him to do until the day. Stay tuned for part 2.